Hello, everyone. Welcome to one more episode of Talking Times. We have a very nice conversation today. I'm here with Isa Vieira. We're going to have a conversation about, wait a minute, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And I haven't read that. But right after our podcast intro. Hello, Isa. Welcome.
Hello, dear. How are you?
I'm amazing. Before we start this, how do you feel?
Oh, I feel nervous.
Okay,
Very
do you want to
much.
sing again?
No, please.
Okay,
I'm
we're not
afraid
gonna
of
do that.
singing.
We were singing some Backstreet Boys. Maybe at the end of the episode we could do that
Yeah,
again.
I'm afraid of getting famous.
Ah, yeah. Ah, that would be a nice thing, right? Okay, before we start, can you please introduce yourself to the
Sure.
audience?
Well, let's see if I can do that. So, I'm Isa Vieira, or Isabella, and I am an English teacher here at Times. And I'm also a psychopedagogist or a psychopedagogue.
Nice. You have a degree in.
Languages or modern languages,
Mm-hmm.
and focus on Portuguese and English. And my specialization is psychopedagogy, or
Mm.
yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
so basically your focus is, correct me if I'm wrong, but what happens in our brain when we learn?
Yeah, exactly that.
I love it already. Yes, is one thing that we do a lot here in the school is to tell you, students, that you're gonna learn your second language in using the same neural mechanisms that you use when you learn your first language. But before we dive into that, I was curious why before.
Nice.
Uh, how were you is as a student?
Oh my gosh, you're doing questions that I'm not prepared for.
But were
Well,
you like the front
no.
student, the
It
one?
depends on the time of my life.
Mhm.
Because as a child, my mom always says that I did my homework by myself. I was always I didn't know that, but I was like a self-taught.
Nice.
I don't know when I discovered that, but I feel that this influence in my childhood too. But in my teenagehood, I think it's better not to talk about it.
Okay, yeah.
But I never reproved. I always had high grades.
Ah, so you were a good student
Yeah, my way.
No, it is very. I'm asking that because after we become teachers, I remember the stuff that I didn't like as a student, and I think I'm not gonna do that with my students. And the same things with the teachers I loved. When I was studying English, you're not watching this, but if you ever watch Mario, you know that Mario, my English teacher, you were amazing and true inspiration. There was this teacher, he was very didactic, always in a good mood. He could make me feel comfortable,
Mm. But was it an
talking.
English teacher in a private school or in regular school?
No, was in a private English course
Mm,
actually.
nice.
In school, I
It's
I had
complicated.
no, I've always studied in public school, so I had that the classic, fifth grade teacher, like Tia Terezinha, Portuguese teacher. Mwah. If you are alive, I love you. It's because she was old back then, so we never know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's facts. But it was like a more hardcore root type of teacher.
Yeah, we had that
They
too.
could make the whole class pay attention, be silent. Uh, but one thing though, this teacher specifically, Dona Terezinha, she's responsible for me loving books.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we can chat a little bit about that in
Hmm.
mechanisms to make students feel, interested in learning. Because I don't know if you felt that as a student or you felt as a teacher, but
Hmm.
sometimes there is kind of a lot of extra steps that shouldn't be there that they get in the way of learning, like you could do in a simple way.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
if you have questions, guys, bring them on. Okay, Isa, how did you end up studying that? So what's the story behind?
Nice. So right about the teachers. I had this impression.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started learning English with 14, 15 years old.
Oh my God, long time ago.
Yeah, a long time
I
ago.
mean, I don't know.
Oh, but it is a while. And sorry. And I started analyzing the
Uh-huh.
teachers. Like I was trying to make conversations with English teachers. And
Oh, that's hard.
in regular school, like I've studied in public school too, and
Mm-hmm.
they're never open to that. They say like, go to your place, go to your room.
Yeah,
And I was like, do you really speak English?
Ah, so you were that type of student. Okay. Now it's answer.
Yeah, and even in college, sometimes oh my gosh, I made very fun of the teacher because he didn't prepare the classes, you know. Oh my gosh, Agenor, if you're watching, please don't watch it.
You're confessing here.
But he was a great
Confess.
person. He was a great person. He even drank with us in the bar, you know.
Oh, really? Yeah, it was a great teacher, but a very nice person.
Yeah, but he didn't have a good preparation of the class, you know, and I teased him a lot. And one day, like right after I teased him, he made a mistake correcting a test.
Oh
And I
boy.
was like, oh man, I trusted you. I teased you, but I trusted you. So just one mistake, it happens.
Yeah, no, normal.
Yeah, but I think I was always this critical person, analytic. And then, oh my gosh, this teacher was crazy. Like, I don't remember her name. That's great. I never forget the irregular verbs. You know, she said
Fine.
you just have to read 10 per day and remember it.
Big piece of
Yeah,
paper with
and I
lists.
never agree with that. I
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
Jesus, we have thousands of other forms. You know,
Mhm.
and I think that time already awakened something inside me. As I said, I was always a self-taught and a
Mhm.
studyaholic about things I like. So I think I dig too much inside of it.
Mm.
But when I started college, I also started teaching. And I received a lot of complaints of students like, oh my gosh, English is horrible. I can
Ah,
never
yeah,
learn.
yeah.
All these classic
You
things.
watching this?
You
We're
guys.
talking about you.
Yeah. And I said, but man, how is it so easy for me? For other students, is easy too. And I started to compare like the methods and the students and
Mhm.
what worked for ones and for other not. And even for me, like what method do I use that is good for me? What are the things that doesn't work for me? So I think this time I started liking pedagogy, no, psychology.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. And I didn't know there existed psychology of education, like
Mhm.
a psychopedagogist. And I started searching for it, and in the middle of college I found it, the specialization. And I decided to search more about it to get more information, and I fell in love with
Oh,
it.
that's amazing. One things that kind of they've driven me to psychology was when I was studying. Uh, I graduated in advertising, so we study mass manipulation technique there. Psyops is very nice stuff.
But dangerous.
Yeah, yeah, it's a tool, but people use it
Sure.
all the time. So when we go to psychology of the consumer, it was like it clicked. Oh my God, I need to learn more about that. You got a little paranoid, like, aha, commercials, everything. You put the tinfoil hat. Yeah.
I can stop falling for those things, you know?
Yeah, but in another aspect, and this is what I hope we can do to the people that are watching
Mhm.
us, not manipulate you guys,
Please no.
but to help them to feel light about learning, or if they have a real diagnosis of exactly. I have to check all the time. ADHD, yes. They they will feel like, okay, it's not the end of the world, and is like we will discuss, is a disorder that can be fixed, and you can have a healthy life even
Mhm.
with this.
Sure.
And okay, but going back there, you see, we got sidetracked already. Yeah, that's good. Um, when you started teaching too, um, when do you remember when you were doing something? I will give you a clear example, and I said, "Aha, you see, it works. It
Nice.
works." Like you mentioned, regular verbs. Uh, that's a common complaint that students have,
Yeah.
and I tell them, okay, you don't need to memorize a list. I want you to memorize
What you're gonna use in your day.
exactly. So you focus like they normally know simple present already. So describe everything you do on a regular day. And they say, oh, I wake up, I do this. Take notes, guys. Then I said, okay, now tell me what did you do yesterday? And I woke up
Yeah.
and I say, okay,
Or
this is how
it's
we
like I
learn.
did wake. They use it a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So let me get emphatic student. Yes, I
Yeah.
did wake up
Oh man,
and I
man.
did have breakfast.
I say it's a tool for beginners, like
Yeah, of
if it's
course.
an emergency, you can use that. You need to pass your message. That's
Exactly,
it.
exactly. Well, you have been a teacher here for 3 years, right? And how do you apply your knowledge in the classes? And
Nice.
is
I
it possible?
For sure, of course. I think we use it all the time. We can use it all the time, and I think everybody uses unconsciously,
Mm-hmm.
because especially at times, because we have to explain everything in English, and once they have a doubt or difficulty understanding what to say, you have to paraphrase or explain in another way. And I think that's a great time to use it, because you go like, you take an example of the student routine, or if you know the student, you know what's their methodology of learning, and then you can apply a better example or explain in another way, and even to find different ways of explaining in my head. I think
Yeah.
it's the strategies are included there.
Yeah, one thing that I normally do, if you ever had a class with me, you know I do this a lot. I I I have a conversation focused on whatever the person likes.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
oh my God, it sounds obvious. Yeah, but it's so simple. Instead of like, all
Hmm.
right,
Let's talk
do
about
you watch
neurobiology.
TV every day? No, you can say, okay, what do you normally do when you have some free time? And the
Hmm.
student will say whatever he or she does. Then you go deeper into
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I like to create the connection, like about the
Hmm.
place the person lives. If it's close to me, I can have
Hmm.
an idea of what they like, or their preference of music, of place to go. We can always find something they like.
Mm.
And with the teachers too, we can use
Yeah,
psychopedagogies. I'm also the coordinator assistant,
nice.
so we have to deal with teachers to see the classes before they apply the classes. And in all that, the focus is to learn, to help the student, the learner, but all included. We have the support as well, the strategies.
Yeah, one thing that I love to see the face when we say is like a simple question that when people are kind of struggling a little or they're feeling, oh my God, I need to translate. I don't know, and I'm going to learn. I said, okay, when you were learning Portuguese,
Yes, exactly.
which language did you use
To
to
translate
translate? And the person that you can see like a question mark
in the
forming
face.
in the form, and then the person, they bug, like, dun, frozen in time. And then, like, what do you mean? I say, exactly. There
We
wasn't
don't
somebody with a
have
whiteboard, like, okay,
what a
conjugation
Google
of the verb.
translator for the images.
No, it's not like that.
Exactly. I say exactly that. Like you have to see what's around you. And like for pictures are the best way for
Hmm.
me to teach them. You just create these
Yeah, sounds
memories.
true, faces, the
Yes.
whole communication process is another thing that people don't get,
Mhm.
right? Communication is not only the grammar structure they are using, is the
It's
vocal
listening.
tonality, is this facial
Body
expression.
language.
Yeah. So you, student, do that in your classes. Before I forget, Great Slipknot song. Let me take a look at the chat here.
Open a parenthesis while you do that. That's why it's important, timers, to open the cameras when you are in the classes. We
It's
can see
true.
the faces, the expressions, if you are with a question mark in your face or anything like that.
That's true. Hello, Monilinho. Good evening. Simone, Times Are Jeans. Hello.
To send a special hug for my students and my team. So hey there, times infinity.
Hello, guys. Hi, Marco.
Marco?
Yeah, Marco Antônio Custódio Vieira. Oh, shout out to you. He must be so proud. You use the universal language. Marco,
That's it.
see, they always get this. Wesley,
Awesome.
good evening, everyone. Wesley Times Cambuí Campinas. Shout out to you
Yeah,
guys.
Wesley is another close student, the
Nice.
best student.
Hello, Leticia. Okay. I had an English teacher that used to say, "You don't have to understand; you just need to memorize." Every time we ask us something,
Oh, that's a
what?
crime.
What's your opinion on that? Yeah, you will create a philosophical zombie, basically, because you don't understand. You just use quotes, you know. Yeah, I
That
had a
doesn't work.
I had a student. He said, I will not mention the name of the method because that would be unethical. But he said, Mike, I once had a class that the whole class was like this: I have a pen, I have a pen, I have a pen, memorize, I have a pen. Then I went to Boston. Shout out to you, Anderson. Oh, we will have a class today probably. And then he said, then when I went there to talk to people, He's, I was, oh, now I'm fluent. I speak English. And he went like, I have a pen. Like, what do I do now? I don't know what to do.
Don't even know what to do with the pen.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so
That's
let's go
it.
with easy steps before we talk about
Nice.
ADHD. Um, what can you tell students, to make them feel comfortable about learning, especially at the beginning, because there is a lot of comparison. They feel afraid of committing mistakes.
Yeah, that's all psychopedagogy is about. It's
Mm,
about you identifying your way. Of course, for example, in times we have a methodology, but inside this methodology, each student have a process, have a way, have a method of
mm-hmm,
it. So you have to discover yourselves and don't compare because your method is different than the other one.
mm-hmm.
Your baggage, your experience is different from the other one. So you are a different person. You are a different person. And that's it. You just have to compare yourself to yourself. How am I today compared to yesterday? Like what's my evolution? And yeah, don't compare yourself.
Yeah, that's
I
a
think
very
that's
good advice. It's the same that people told me when I started going to the gym.
that's a cliche.
No, some friends told me like, oh man, nothing changes. I'm doing the diet, I'm training. You
Gosh,
know,
this is another thing. People think they will learn in like 3 weeks, 3 months.
yeah,
It's a constant practice, just like
yeah.
the gym.
I wanted to look like Conan in the first month,
First
and
month.
the hair. Yeah. And then eventually I noticed, I think was somebody that I haven't seen for a while. The person, oh, you are different. What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, we lose track of our progress. So people needed constant feedbacks, but
Mhm.
uh, if you are studying for a month or maybe five, or try to remember, it's difficult, but how was the feeling when you started? Because you may as well be already thinking in English, but you haven't realized it.
This is something happened to me. Like today, I don't have a memory when I didn't speak in English.
It's very nice, huh? It's
It's
great.
awkward. It's bizarre. It's like, was that? Because the first contact I had, I think I was 8 or 9 years old. And it wasn't a perfect contact. But when I started the course, I eliminated this period.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did I eliminate if I don't remember like consciously how to speak? But it was there. It's especially for kids. If you have a kid, please start English as soon as possible because it's the
Uh,
best way. Thing you teach kids, they will never forget.
that's is a personal question, okay? But let's suppose in a hypothetical scenario, I'm not talking about my life. I have already gave it up. Suppose, for example,
From universe.
yeah, let's suppose like the mother speaks in Portuguese, the father in English. Is that harmful because we'll kind of blend for the kids, or no? It will.
I don't think so. Personal answer too.
Yeah.
I don't think so because like maybe it's confusing when the kid starts to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm talking to a friend and he doesn't recognize the friend speaks just Portuguese.
Okay.
And maybe like when we think in English, we start confusing or forgetting
Oh yeah, it happens all
things.
the time.
Yeah, like how can I say this in Portuguese? I
Yeah.
forgot.
It
So I
happens on my
think
breaks when I leave school and I have to go to the supermarket, speaking English the whole day, and then sometimes you go to the place.
how much?
Excuse me, the person looks at you like you are a monster,
Like,
like, oh my god.
yes, yes. So I think that's the worst thing that can
Yeah, maybe
happen.
associating each language with an environment. For example, at home, this language, in a school, blah 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 language.
This is
I don't know,
nice.
maybe.
This is nice because they can separate and learn like the association of both
Makes
languages.
sense. What about another thing that people don't realize that speaking correctly in terms of grammar use is spontaneous. There's no moment whatsoever that you kind of,
Mm-hmm.
switch something there and okay, now my grammar is perfect.
Mm,
It's like a progressive thing, right?
sure.
And the students, again, I
They
say,
don't
I
understand.
want you to speak to me like in the classic Tarzan movies, I happy now, pizza yesterday. Oh, mwah.
Hmm.
I understood exactly what you wanted to say. Eventually, you
Yes.
will start filling the gaps. It's a
Hmm.
natural process.
Yeah, and it also depends on where you're talking. If you go to a job interview, of course, your brain will try your best to be
Hmm.
perfectly. Like me, I'm trying now to speak perfectly. But if you are talking to friends, if you go abroad and you make some friends at the bar, Jesus Christ, you're gonna talk. She don't. It's
Yeah,
okay.
that's another amazing thing. Make friends in which to whom you can communicate in English to.
For
I
sure.
had this American friend. I have. He's alive. He's just living there. Michael. We used to be teachers together in a school, and it was very nice because if I ever said something wrong, he would start teasing me, like laughing,
Mm-hmm.
and then I said, "Don't be a jerk about it." And but I learned a lot with him because we
Sure.
were like that.
Nice.
Um, well, before we go there, what's your favorite class that we have? Like song class,
At
game class?
times,
Yes.
oh man, it's hard to say because if I say it's a song, depends on the songs playing.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I love songs in general.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it depending on the song class is the best.
Yeah, I like when we use the problem-based learning. So you do like a game class, or we have classes with poker that people,
Mm-hmm.
cooking classes.
Yeah, I've made meditation classes. I made
Amazing idea.
I don't know in English, but like face to face, the
Hmm.
game. I don't know. It's really nice too.
Yeah, and something very nice that happens, you meditate too. So they enter in the fully in the present mode, having fun, and that's it. The class is over already. Oh, that was so fast.
I do that.
Yeah.
Like just talking to this, and then I look at the clock and what? We have to go already.
Yeah, and
So
they do the
amazing. Yeah,
yeah. So guys, have fun while learning. Okay. All right.
sure.
So one of the current language problems acquisition is the ADHD. ADHD. I'm gonna pronounce it correctly.
Amazing.
You see, teachers commit mistakes all the time, guys. It's fine.
We always have something new to learn. I
Yeah.
say that.
Can you explain, like I'm 5 years old, what is that?
Okay, so ADHD stands for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's
Mhm.
better to consult.
Okay.
So sometimes not hyperactivity, sometimes just attention deficit disorder. Depends on
Mm,
the person.
the practical difference would be the brain of the person wouldn't be rushing all the time, or
No.
everything is like interesting.
I have two answers for that.
Okay.
And if specialists start seeing us,
Huh,
correct me.
huh.
But one explanation is this hyperactivity works in the brain,
Mhm.
but another one is really the hyperactivity kid that doesn't
And
cannot
this is
be
crucial too,
stopped.
because sometimes can be just a hyperactive person. I used to be
Yeah.
one, like climbing trees. All these scars I have in my body is because of that. Yeah, yeah. And the other could be the actual disorder, right? So it's
Yeah.
important for parents to be aware.
Sure, yeah, and to pay attention at the diagnosis
Mhm.
because doctors will explain better to you.
Okay.
So so let's go back to the basics.
Yeah.
Most people say it's about dopamine, it's a lack of dopamine, but it's not actually that. This link I sent to the guys,
It's in the first link in the chat,
in the
guys.
chat. It's
Is
a
of.
video. It's another podcast,
Mhm.
and it's a little long with a lot of specific terms, but it's interesting to get more information, and the guy explains it
Yeah,
perfectly.
Dr. Hilberman.
Guy, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
he's really didactic.
Awesome. So he explains this dopamine thing. It's like a band. It's like our brain is a band or a symphony, and it has to be in order to
Okay.
play all the instruments together. And it appears that dopamine is the maestro. So if we have I don't like to say normal brain because what's normal, right, in the 21st century?
Yeah.
But
Let's say
without the
normal in
disorder,
terms of is working as it's supposed to do, like
yeah, yeah.
biologically correct in your
Mm,
homeostasis. We have to
yeah.
be technical, otherwise people can like,
Just yeah, we're talking about that too, about
yeah,
judgmenting social medias.
yeah,
But in this case, dopamine is responsible to command all these things. It's not that it's lacking, but is responsible for the command. And
okay.
in an ADHD brain, the dopamine is like a crazy maestro.
Oh,
So
so
it's
you
calling,
gotta reward. It's like an opera conductor. You gotta reward. You gotta reward. You gotta
yeah,
reward.
yeah, and then like the brain's like, okay, you do that, but then it's confusing all the functions, and that's why. So yeah, you ask some symptoms too, right?
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes they can procrastinate. Procrastination is actually called an ADHD paralysis. Is that correct?
Mm.
So you really paralyze, like you cannot do anything. Sometimes another person, sorry, can shake you off, like, come on, get up and do the dishes. But sometimes it's just a brain reaction. So it depends from person to person, from level of ADHD, but these are
Ah, okay.
general
That's it's a
symptoms.
spectrum things. Not you have these
No,
100% or no. It can
no, you can have a light level and a accurate level.
is similar in a way, but definitely not the same with some kind of autism too. You'll have like levels too.
Yeah, the concept is like similar. Yeah,
Oh,
so the symptoms are classical, I can say that,
mm-hmm.
but it depends on the intention. So the
Okay.
person can procrastinate or can feel lazy, but that's different from the just lazy person. I think we're gonna get into
No,
that.
of course, and I think one thing that is very important if the person has this condition is uh, don't be harsh on yourself. Like try to
Exactly.
eliminate the feeling of guilt,
Mm-hmm.
because it's the same thing every time we have a podcast about psychology or the brain or mind. It comes up because it's very important. If you are sore throat, for example, oh, I'm feeling like the worst today.
Yeah.
You will not be beating yourself up unless I don't know you
Or filling
screamed
yourself of medicine.
exactly. Or let's say something happens, you break a leg or something like that. We don't beat ourselves up
Mm-hmm.
because we have this kind of distinction in our heads, like, oh, my mind and then guilt and the rest of
Yes.
my body. Okay, it's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. It's a part of your body.
Yeah, like the body's sick or I broke something,
Mm-hmm.
it's not my fault, it happened.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's inside my mind, it's like my fault, I control my mind.
Exactly.
No, we cannot always control the mind. And
Yeah.
you said, I think I think I confused the questions.
Huh.
But you mentioned in learning a language is the acquisition problems, right?
Yeah.
I would militate from that. I don't like this idea of problems. I think that's not the problem. The condition is never the problem.
Okay.
So the problem is how we approach these, how we treat these students, the lack of respect, of course. And yeah, I think we just have to find a way to deal with that. And like you said, respect their limits.
Mhm.
Don't blame them because if you're telling them not to blame themselves, why would the teacher blame the student?
Exactly. As a professional, as a teacher, is it very distinctive how you teach a person that has and a person that doesn't have? What changes?
I think what changes is the care you take with this person. Like I think they are already hurt from society, from all the things they see, from having a diagnosis. So I think I would just give more emphasis on that, on taking care of what I say, what I do. But in the methodology of understanding the student is
Mm-hmm.
the same. Like I take the same care to look deeply to understand the experience, the how they feel about the language, and what's the best method for them to
It's like
learn.
basically a genuine human interaction. You pay attention in the person, recognize
Yeah,
nice.
for sure. I think I defend that. I don't like doctors that don't look to your face
Yeah, they go
and
like,
just
mm-hmm,
write.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, or
Teachers
even
too, guys.
psychology.
Don't be like that teacher, that
Mhm.
just follow a script, a protocol, and like, you answer
Yeah.
me this. Ah, what would do? Mm-hmm.
We
And
have to
you.
listen them to understand them and make them feel like they are listened to.
Nice. Makes total sense.
Awesome.
Good evening, João Paulo.
João Paulo, pronto. I know. Yes,
Cristina de
guys.
Mello. Hi,
That's
hello.
my mom
Mama is
of the
here.
family.
Mwah, hi.
Mom understands better than dad.
Shout out to you, KV. Times Putantã. Hi,
Amazing.
guys. Okay. Leonardo, hi, good evening. HDD. Oh, it's very hard. I have it. Okay. Oh, you nice that you are learning, man. That's amazing. And thanks for being here and for sharing this too.
Oh, and I think for the person who has ADHD, they
Mm.
also have to communicate. Like, oh,
Mm.
teacher, I have it. I don't know what's the best way for me to learn, or I know I tried these.
Hmm.
Like, talk to your teacher,
Be open about it,
expose.
right?
Exactly, because we're here to help you guys.
Exactly.
So we need to know what's going on inside your minds.
Makes sense too. So the first steps would be kind of demystify whatever it is. Don't be harsh on yourselves,
Search for right information.
Yeah, social media confuses a lot,
Yes.
Don't
Yeah.
listen to coaches.
Don't.
Oh, you
Yeah.
just have to do this or that.
And we were talking before, like once you see a video or oh my god, an article or something,
Mhm.
go to other sources. I see a video, search for another video, search for other sources to confirm what you really searched or learned.
Yeah, a simple way that you can do that, if you want to use Google, you go to Google articles, meta-analysis on whatever topic you want to know about.
Oh,
Then you will have like a
interesting.
big compilation, the peer-reviewed studies. Oh, they said this, but it wasn't actually the case. And then and try to see science as a descriptive thing, without good, bad, right, or wrong. Oh, maybe I have this. Okay, what's the scientific knowledge accumulated in this
Mhm.
2024 has to say about how I deal with that, and then you find the most practical solution.
Can you write that on the chat?
I don't know. Yeah, I will forget one
Write
thing.
for me later, please.
But yes, Google articles, meta-analysis on. Yeah.
Meta-analysis. Nice.
Wesley, teacher is more than a teacher. She's my psychologist. Nice.
It's amazing.
I love you, teacher Isa. I'm Roseli Queiroz from Jaguariúna.
Awesome. That's nice,
You are a
guys.
popular one. Oh, hi, Isa. Isa's
Just
here too.
Cambuí.
Uh, Marcia Ma, hello, Isa. Vanessa, hello. Hi, Priscilla. Wonderful ray of sunshine. Congratulations, Regiane. Said that.
Really?
Yeah. Hutch Max, I used to say I have amnesia because I forgot almost every time and
I
needed
think
to repeat many times to try to memorize. Do you have one piece of advice about this, Hutch Max?
when I was thinking, like I said, about the paralysis. I
Mhm.
think what's the word again? Sorry.
Amnesia.
Amnesia.
Ah, yes.
I think it's another part of it because I don't know. I think we can put the guilt on dopamine, like it's taking the information away from you.
I'm gonna use a movie. Okay, if it's bullshit, you can correct me. Okay, feel free. I love learning.
Okay.
But there is a movie with Guy Pearce, amazing movie. Mauricio probably watched it called Memento. Yes, it's a guy that he suffers from amnesia and he's investigating who killed his wife, some criminal guys. And in order, don't do exactly that, okay? It's just an example. What does he do? He writes tattoos on his body, so whenever he wakes up with his memory erased, he will remember, oh, this. So he leaves breadcrumbs. So whatever you can do and is immediate, you have to remember. That's something I do. I write on my hands. Let's say something trivial. Oh, I need to buy, I don't know, a spare wheel for my car. Spare wheel, and then I go to the supermarket and I notice, oh wait, why I have done this? Oh,
Mm,
the technical thing would be you try to create a long-term memory that your brain would access easily. So
yeah.
we do this in classes, for example. Let's say I want people to remember verbs in the past. Oh, tell me about your last trip. Then
Mhm.
people have memories about that. Yeah, you could do that, Max.
Yeah, it's a nice advice. I
But
think
without the tattoos, okay?
without the tattoos, please don't tattoo your butt like that.
Buy bread.
That would be nice if a crazy person does that. But I think we haven't talked about the diagnosis yet, but I
Mhm.
will advise.
Yeah.
My first advice would be search for this specialist. So it
Okay.
can be a neurologist or a psychologist with a specialization
Mhm.
to see if it's just an amnesia or just a normal, because we are not perfect. We speak about normal, but nobody's like, I remember everything and my brain is perfect.
Mm.
Everybody has some kind of lack.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the first one. And exactly that, like we use the cell phone all the time, so there are some notes, some sticks that stays in the first
Mm.
page of the cell phone. I think that's nice. And make lists. I have to make lists all the time,
Yeah,
like
it's very
not
healthy
only when
too.
I go to the supermarket, but if I go out. I work from home, so I never go out.
Okay.
And then when I go, like all the lists I have to do, because when I arrive home, it's very frustrating, like forgetting
I have to go
something.
back there.
Yeah, like 1 week later. So take notes if you want, if you have many things to remember, many things to do, buy an agenda or anything that you can constantly write on that. Or just have a place on your cell phone. We never forget the cell phone at home.
Yeah, and if you, oh Mike, what if I forget to look at my phone? Set the alarm. It can happen too. Oh, this person sent me a message in 2018.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have a group in my cell phone. It's me, myself, and I.
Oh, nice. The voices in my head. Nice, nice.
I'm really in that group.
I do the same with these studies because if I turn this computer to you, this is organized. Is one browser that I have the things that I have to do on the day. I use my computer tabs. So, for example, the WhatsApp, the controller, the things I will watch for a class, and then I have another browser with a lot of things that I'm studying. But it accumulates, so I send to the group me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I finished this article, this, now I'm gonna go there.
Sure. Or a
So
spreadsheet too.
yeah, exactly. One thing that may be a problem is people when they don't have a fixed routine, and that's dangerous because you wake up in different hours, you eat in different hours, you sleep in different hours, you don't have.
Yes.
I know sounds boring, but our body likes routine, especially if you need to organize something. So I don't know, put stick notes in your house too.
I say that you remember vocab.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, all the time you open the fridge, you will remember, that's fridge. I speak in English.
Yeah. In they will remember those words that are like, I don't know, doormat, or the door handle, this type of things that are easy to forget.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, yeah, that was a good question. Thanks, Max.
And search for
Okay. Yeah, yeah, check professional help. The
notes.
same logic with whenever, health problems somebody may have, instead of just Googling the solution, don't do that. You discover that you will die in 5 minutes.
And cancer.
Yeah, don't do that. So go for professional help. Um, Christina saying, I'm proud of you, daughter. I love you. Oh, very cute. Okay, Isa is saying here, would you say that this large amount of TDA, HDT diagnosis is delayed knowledge of the disease, or let's not use this word and try to use the condition, or a generalized condition like the old phrase, it's a virus? How do you think is appropriate? Okay, it's a very good question because we have that meme, like, back in my day, nobody had that. But you see, this is something I do in classes that will help you to remember. Why is he doing that? Um, it's not that it never happened before, it's that we didn't have the tools to know,
We were
right?
discussing that before, right?
Yeah.
I think like since the dinosaurs, I think dinosaurs had ADHD. But it's exactly that. Like science was not so far discovering all this diagnosis. So
Mhm.
it's not that, in the 21st century everybody has the condition. It's just that we are talking more about it, are investigating more about it. And there's the thing about the genes that I told you before. So for
That's nice knowledge for people to know, especially if you wanna, knock somebody up, have kids, raise a family.
family, that's good. So I haven't studied any other aspects that this influences, but for ADHD and autism, that is a rule.
Hmm.
We all have little genes inside ourselves. I was telling Mike that I feel sometimes this aspect of forgetting things, distracting. You guys see that we distracted ourselves a lot here.
It's because we're having fun.
Maybe we have this little genes of
Could be true.
ADHD.
Yeah.
And for example, I have one gene. My wife is with a pre-diagnosis of it. If we have kids, the chance is big to have a kid with some condition. I don't say for sure ADHD, but maybe another condition. And another thing that I was listening is about older parents. So if they are over 40, yeah, 35, 40, the
Mm,
chance is bigger to have.
okay.
Because our genes change after 30s or 40, they start to change. And with this change, I cannot say for sure with this vocab, but they have this, they evolve this kind of gene.
So it's a predisposition of having
Yeah,
the condition. A lot
exactly.
of issues here.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, one
But
thing that
that's why.
may be the case, I like the work of the psychologist Jonathan Haidt. I'm gonna write his
It's
name in
him.
the chat here. But see, one thing at a time.
Yeah,
But stress influences a lot in forgetting things and stuff like that.
I
Like
think so.
if you are under a lot of stress due to, I don't know, some family problems, or you work in an environment that is very stressful too, could be the case that is just your body
Mhm.
asking for help. You know.
That's why I don't know if we have a similar expression like the last drop in the glass.
Yeah.
So it's like you are stressed and it are this bunch of things in your mind. Like, oh my gosh, it's like I imagine our brain like a big archive, but those like furniture and a lot of drawers. So each drawer it's open at a time within a specific. This is the dream brain.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
Everything
imagine,
functions properly.
yeah, like you fulfilled all the first drawer and you left it open, or you left in the half and then go to another. So it's like this bunch of things open in your mind for the same time. And the last drop is the burnout. If you don't stop to take or to finish organizing one drawer, you're gonna have this last drop of water in
Makes
the
sense.
glass.
Is it the manifestation of the symptoms, how we deal, is it very different from teens to adults? Because the brain is very
Oh, this is
different.
a
You
good
don't have the
question.
fully cortex developed, and teens, they're that soup of hormones, you know.
I think just like you said about oh man, I forgot what you said. No.
About the brain.
The kids. Oh, I said about teaching kids as soon as
Yes.
possible. So try to diagnose them as soon as possible too,
Mm.
because it's easier to treat. I think it's a difference because it's not developed, like you said. But I haven't searched a lot. It's a nice topic to search more
Yeah,
later.
it is. I'll try to remember basically what I've searched from the work of that guy, Jonathan Haidt, but
Mm.
it was something like this. Kids that were born around 97, 98, when we started having smartphones, 2009, 2010, with social media already, it was when they were teenagers. So you have the hormonal soup there, everything is very intense,
Mhm.
and they started to have the scrolling thing that is dopamine, 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 new thing, new thing, new thing, new thing. So what he said basically is that a lot of the consequences of this is happening now, people having a hard time in debating or talking about differences in overcoming some daily pain or amount of stress. Is like you don't have you have a lack of the mechanism in the brain to deal with stress.
Mhm.
So a lot of novelty all the time. So it's another thing that I guess we need more studies about it. But
Yeah, for sure.
um
It's a great topic.
people should be aware of how they use social media too, right? Like
Of course.
yeah, I tell my friends and students, uh, try to time how much time you do it.
Yes, there is an app that they say like get out of here in time time, or they close the app. My wife uses that.
Mm,
So yeah, if you're watching, please type if you understand.
yeah, it would be nice. And in classes, for example, we were talking a bit about the teaching method. One thing that I tell my students is, like you said, turn on the camera and please be present. If you are having an English class and the person is doing anything else, like IT guys,
Oh, IT guys, I
with
was
multiple
thinking that.
tabs, dual monitors there.
Yes.
Shut up, don't do it.
The front door.
Yeah, shut up, front door.
Awesome. Yeah, because they think like, okay, I have a free time in my job, but then I can program something. Don't understand that.
No, it doesn't work. You need to be there fully
Yeah.
present.
Because if not, it's like you listen a podcast. You just listen the class, not participating in
Yeah,
it.
that's a very big distinction, right? How is your experience in teaching teens? Uh,
Nice, nice. Yeah, it varies from person to
mm,
another, from the place they are in search of, from parents. Oh
mm.
man, like you said about the social media is like discovering hormones, but the parents play a big role there
Oh yeah,
too.
they do.
If
Sometimes you wanna.
we see for ourselves, like we've been through that, a lot of hormones, a lot of things in our minds,
Yeah.
and sometimes parents are just not there, or there's another person to take care of you, or they just close. And a big problem for, I think we are improving more that in this century, but a big problem of past generations is to see the kid or the teenager as inferior as us.
Yeah.
They are mini humans, but no, they are humans too. They just didn't have all the experience we had.
Mm-hmm.
So this separation is important to embrace them, to say, I'm on your side, I'm not superior than you. And I think I try my best to do this with the teens, like embrace them and see and say, it's not because I lived more that I'm superior than you. We are equal. You're gonna be
Yeah.
there too.
You learn a lot with them too, with every
For
student all the
sure.
time.
Yes, because different experience, different ages, different places, different everything.
Different slangs all the
Yeah,
time. These kids, back in my day, I didn't used to talk like that, But
but they are incredible.
one thing that influenced me as a teacher, talking to teens and teaching teens, is what make me be like the clown teacher, because you need to hook their attention.
Hmm.
And sometimes if you are too methodic
Yeah,
and theoretical, like this and that, they will like, "Hmm,"
yeah,
or
and
they will get their
travel.
phones.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially when they don't open the camera.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't know if they're
Yeah.
like playing some,
Oh
I don't
man.
know, Forza, God of War, whatever game these kids are playing
Sure.
today.
Or if they participate on the cell phone, like they take the cell phone anywhere, like the kids
Yeah,
are not
yeah.
even home
So,
sometimes.
so for studying, a proper environment will be
Definitely,
important too.
for sure.
Okay. Um, Let me take a look here. Oh, which medical professional can help us? Wesley is asking here.
For sure. Yeah, the neuroscientist,
Mm-hmm.
a very specialized psychologist or
Okay.
psychiatrist too.
All right. These are specific tests to determine ADHD. So
Yes,
are there? So you go to the
all the
profession and you say,
conditions.
like, I would like the test for ADHD.
Yeah, that's why you need to search for a specialized one
Mm,
because they know how to do the test. Sometimes it's a conversational test or some dynamical test too, but I'm not specialized in that, not for sure.
okay. So you go to the specific profession that will, and again, guys, don't do the self-diagnosis,
No,
you
no.
know.
You can do not a self-diagnosis, but a pre-diagnosis
Mm-hmm.
to understand. Okay, so
List
I'm
like,
looking for all the right information we said, and then you confirm. Okay, I have these symptoms because you save some time when you go to the doctor and say, I suspect that, but it's not something you're saying for sure. I have it. Please don't say that.
okay. So there is a question here. Um, are we born like this, or this is something syndrome or
Hmm.
something acquired throughout life?
Usually ADHD, it's a gene. It comes with you, ADHD and autism. We
Mm,
were talking before about varieties of autism that
hmm.
occur. So you have to search the right information about the time, but for sure that you are born with it's autism and ADHD.
Something that hits me while we were chatting is that I guess depending on the level, people wouldn't even notice. They would think it's a personality trait.
Yeah, there's an actress. What's her name? Leticia Sabatella. She discovered recently she has autism level 1. And it was like that, just some agony inside, some I don't match with this group of people, I have my way of doing things. And like are some details that if she didn't do this diagnosis, maybe she would just have an incognita in her life, but normal. So once you have this, it's a life change. Like, okay, I can identify with something. It's not that I'm searching my whole life for what's wrong with me, and then I discover it's like a peace of mind, I think.
That's exactly the thing we ask ourselves sometimes. What's wrong with me? And then the feeling of guilt too. But I don't know. Something that happens when I started to study biology too. I love that,
I love that.
especially the ethology area that is like animal behavior, blah blah blah. And then I met that professor Robert Sapolsky,
Yes.
and it's a very specific view of whatever exists and how we behave. But then the feeling hit me was like, oh, now everything makes sense. It's a very peaceful state of mind. Like, oh,
Exactly.
and that's why I do this.
Yeah, and it's not like, what's wrong with me? It's
Hmm.
like I said before, nobody's normal. So it's not wrong with you. What's different about you?
Hmm.
Maybe that's the right question.
Yeah, the whole okay philosophy, now the whole concept of normality,
Yeah.
assumes there is a group of people that is like the norm, but it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be everybody at the same time, the same way. Doesn't work like that.
Exactly. So we just need to look the peculiarities about ourselves and value that. This is the cliche, right? This
Hmm.
is what makes you different than the others, you know. We're not supposed to be equal.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and it creates a better environment for learning too.
Exactly.
Removing the walls.
Yeah, exactly. So I say that my view of healthy environment of learning is a little topic, but we have to be right. We want to achieve perfection in
What
society.
is your ideal of a healthy
It's
environment?
okay. So it's exactly that we said we need to embrace the students to understand them and focus on their needs. So according to legislation and theory, the schools have to do that, the regular schools. My concern are the regular schools.
Hmm.
So they need all these dynamic, get out of the traditional methods or take the kids outside to prove them what they are learning they are gonna use. Because this is our biggest question. Like, oh my God, why am I learning chemistry? I'll never use that. But you have to find something interesting. Like, do you want to know what's inside toothpaste, for example?
Right.
So I can tell you.
You stimulate their curiosity about the topic.
Exactly. And put in reality, like we said in English. Why am I learning English? Because you might want to travel, understand movies and songs. So you need to create this interesting.
Yeah, that would be my $1 million question. How can we make education fun? It is one of the things that we are supposed to chat to is
Exactly.
education in Brazil. We are some years behind whatever's happening abroad, but and I'm not saying like the street dog syndrome. Oh, you are inferior. No, like that. It's because not like that because a lot of places education is in another level.
Yeah.
But one thing, for example, education here is associated with obligation, like you have to follow one specific curriculum, and you have that idea of punishment. Like I had teachers, they would throw crayons on the students. They have a good aim. They should be on the Olympics. Man, and some with a big ass ruler, like they would hit you, like, oh. So what could we do today to kind of I know it's not in a week or in a month, maybe in a
Exactly.
10 or 20 years of education, but what could we do to improve that?
Yeah, I think it's exactly what BNCC, I don't know if we can, let me see. Yeah, BNCC, it's like a document that makes the regulation of regular school, and they focus on abilities and competencies. So
Hmm.
it's not you have to fulfill a curriculum and finish college, finish school so then you can start college. No, it's about discovering what ability they have or what they can do. It's just that. So sometimes the student is bad at math, but good at music. So exploring the student, exploring what they have to offer to the society, not what you have to offer them. To put them in the main point.
Nice. That sounds a lot of one of the first TED Talks that I ever watched. It was years ago. YouTube was young. That is called School Hacking. It was a kid, of 13 old. He was 13 years old. It is still there on YouTube. If you put School Hacking, you will find. And you have a version where he's 13 years old, and you have a second TED Talk that is like 3 or 4 years later. So he has a deep voice. It's interesting to see the difference. But he talks a lot about that how practical uh, problem-based learning methods they used. That, for example, if they are learning geometry or physics, they will go to a skateboard factory, learn how to do the calculations of the board, the angles, and they create their own skateboard. So it's like really making the thing they are supposed to learn in a
Exactly.
applicable way.
Yeah. My mother-in-law, it was a teacher too. Like all my wife's family is a teacher, and she married
It
one.
runs in our blood.
Yeah, literally. And she was this kind of teacher, like she took the students outside to explore the nature, to understand how it works, to create those, I don't know the name when you build like a solar system
Yeah.
in that material, I don't know.
Yeah. The mini solar system model.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the utopia. It's easier to if you see the different teachers, but why are they different teachers? They should be the whole model.
So for schools, I guess, first, please let the guy work. Like, give freedom so your teachers can do,
Exactly.
what they're supposed to do.
And that's the importance of having a psychopedagogist everywhere. Because I don't know if I mentioned before, but I mentioned to you like when we're talking, like it's a profession that it's not very viewed by the society.
Hmm.
Like not everybody knows about it. So it's important to spread the message and to say it's not only on schools we can act in companies and everywhere that are people learning. And in the school, it's important because of that to orient teachers how to be different, how to explore the students' potential.
And it's an amazing feeling when you finish a class and people say, "Oh, thank you." So, well, thank me. It's my
It's just
job.
my job,
And they
yeah.
remember,
But you feel different.
Yeah. So, okay, unfortunately, we are running out of time
Yeah.
already. See?
So you guys can ask for part two because we had a lot to talk.
Yeah, no, it goes fast. I
It
told
was
you,
nice. Yeah. I was nervous, but I want more.
Yeah, you see?
That's the magic.
But that's the thing.
Awkward pause.
Yes, I told you I'm gonna do it. She was nervous. I said, if you're nervous, we can do an awkward pause. She said, Mike, if you do, I'm going to interrupt you. Okay, is a final message to our viewers, and thank you so much. It was a nice conversation.
It was a pleasure.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, me too. Always do. I think that's the final magic. No, true.
As well.
The message, like never stop learning, never stop studying, always question everything, and always get out of your comfort zone, to learn something new. I think it's important to never stop.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Subscribe to the channel. Share this with somebody that you know is struggling learning, or just someone that wants to practice their listening.
Or who's curious.
Exactly. Next week, we'll be here at the same time in the same channel without Chaves. Okay. See you next week.
Thank you, guys.